Well, we will enter the 8th week of the oil spill disaster here in Louisiana, and so much talk, the loss of thousands of jobs in the fishing industry. Now, this morning, a lot of the conversation having to do with a drilling moratorium, how we see an estimated anywhere from 20,000 to 30,000 oil services jobs that could vanish with this 6-month federal moratorium. Then you got to add to that, throughout the state, other different areas like, restaurants, be affected by the loss of the seafood, the tourism industry. Some folks are saying that in the long run it could affect 100,000 jobs. Who knows? Maybe Professor of Economics at Loyola, Professor Walter Block knows. Good morning, Professor Bob DelGiorno, and welcome to WWL.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, it's my pleasure. You know, I took a couple of days vacation last week, and I have to tell you, I couldn't sleep. I'm just so concerned what the future of all of us has in store for us here. I know this is your business, so why don't you tell us, our region, what does it look like, the future, and how long will it take to recover if we do?
Well, those are very good questions. I'm afraid I don't have specific numbers because this is the future, and I don't think economists have any better role on this than anyone else. But you're quite right. There will be a lot of oil service jobs lost. People taking food out to the oil rigs, restaurant jobs, food services, all sorts of things. And if the smell comes across, as people say it will, although I was going to say I haven't seen it, but I haven't smelled it yet, there will be a loss of tourism also. So, yes, we'll be in dire straits, and they're talking about this oil going on for 6 months, and the moratorium means who knows what Obama's got in store for us. So the situation does look rather bleak without putting any specific numbers on it, which I'm unable to do.
And there's no guarantees. I had a caller call me about an hour ago and say, well, Bob, how can you guarantee that if the president lifted the moratorium, that we would never have another accident? You can't do that. And we all understand that the oil industry creates these tens of thousands of jobs in the state of Louisiana, but on the other hand, at the sacrifice of our health and our natural resources. So oil has been our friend up until this large spill. Oil and the economy and the fishing industry all work together, and now this, where oil is our enemy. So where do we go from here, and how do we proceed?
Well, those are very good questions. I've long advocated legalization of drugs in Louisiana, and if we did that...
So we don't know, do we? I mean, it's such a complex situation that we have right now. And it's frustrating. I mean, you sit here every morning and you listen to callers and you try to get some hope. At least we got one good thing going, this new cap. Apparently it's capturing some oil, so that's a little hope there.
Well, that's good. There's one interesting point. The oil sands in Alberta, the environmentalists were very down on that. But I guess Louisiana's loss is Alberta, Canada's gain, because at least you don't have oil spills with the oil sands, even though you have environmental issues there. It's also interesting to discuss not only what will happen, but to lay the finger of blame. Why is it that we're in such dire straits? What are the difficulties? And I'm a free market economist, so the bad guys in my lexicon are usually government. For example, government and environmentalists, left-wing environmentalists, an unholy alliance, have orchestrated things in such a way that they couldn't drill in the shallow water right off the coast. They had to go in very deep water. And one of the problems in deep water, I think they're 5,000 feet deep out there.
Yeah,
is that
a mile down.
A mile down, roughly. It's much more dangerous, much more likely to have problems. And when you have problems, it's harder to solve problems a mile down than 50 feet down, say, on the oil shelf. So if the government hadn't, with a little help from left-wing environmentalists, banished oil drilling out to the deep water, we might not have been in the dire straits that we're now in. So if we're going to lay fingers of blame, obviously BP is first on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But your friend and my friend, the government, is also implicated here.
Well, a lot of people, as far as government are concerned, think that oil drilling is a Republican thing. And so you start going along those lines there, where the President of the United States, obviously, not really too happy with us anyway, because we weren't in his corner for the presidential elections. But to simply come into town and, talking to the Lafourche Parish president, asked him, Mr. President, would you please lift the moratorium? It's going to affect 20 to 30,000 jobs. And his answer being, well, they can collect unemployment. To me, that's not a very sensitive answer.
No, it's not a very good answer, and neither is the answer that we'll have government jobs instead. I mean, one of the fastest growing parts of the economy right now, unhappily, is federal, state, and local government jobs. But if you extrapolate from that, we get back to the Soviet Union or Cuba or North Korea, where most jobs are government jobs. That's surely not the way to go, and certainly not relying on unemployment insurance.
At this particular time, although we don't have any definite answers, we're pretty resilient here in Louisiana. We've been through a lot of stuff, especially the last 5 years, if you will. I guess I can take the words out of the mouth of Coach Payton yesterday when he said that the football players, after their training camp today, are going to go down to Plaquemine Parish. They want to spend some time with the people down there and give them a little inspiration and address the fact that, hey, there's always hope. Are we resilient enough to survive this one? I don't know.
Oh, I think we're resilient enough to survive pretty much anything. If we can get through, I was going to say Katrina, but not Katrina. If we can get through the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA, how they screwed up Katrina and created the Katrina problem, we can get through anything.
Well, Professor, as soon as you get an answer on this one, call me back. We're all going to anxiously await and see how this all plays out. I think it's a day-by-day situation. Let's hope that this new cap will catch more oil than it is. And at that point, we don't know if it's 12,000 or 25,000 barrels a day. But I guess eventually we'll find out. And Professor, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Being so candid with us. Thank you very much, Professor Walter Block.